Guys, welcome to my video, and today I'll be going through my deck profile for the newly updated EVA from D-Bt11, and also the deck list that I bought out to for WGP Singapore Season 2. I did decently well. I could say I feel like I could have done much better, but it's a better result than the previous season since I got more than just one win. And yeah, it is a nice round Swiss with 360 people, full house. I dropped out after the fifth round since I couldn't make the cut afterwards. So yeah, my final result was 3-2, 2 losses, 3 wins, which is what I dropped since with 360 people. The top cut is probably people who voted 9-0 and 8-1, so there's not much of a reason for me to stay out. Yeah, even if I win the next few games, it'll be 7-2. It wouldn't really be enough to cut, so I'll just drop off and go to Kaka shop and play with my friends. The first match was against LS Steel, which is a very scary matchup since 1, they went first, 2, LS Steel can potentially make maximum of 7 attacks with a minus 5 to 10k or more to Vanguard. And the other Vanguard has an extra crit on the second attack, which is very scary and annoying, but luckily my opponent couldn't catch out their LSQ out for their double wing, and was lucky that he was only able to get his white wing out. So the only thing he could do is just raging form into LSQ and just personalize back and try to hopefully search for his LQ, which luckily he couldn't get, and just finish him off. Second match was against Minerva, which is also another scary match, and they even went first. I was still able to win miraculously, all due to the fact that they couldn't get Persona 1 and 2. The person got too much of the promo card, which I don't really remember what it does, except that it filters for the deck. And so yeah, he was able to make like 5 plus attacks, but I was able to survive oddly enough on 5 damage for 3 turns, and that was on his first crit 3 turn where he just double sacked, double crit onto the pass. I just somehow live all because he couldn't persona. He was able to do at least 4 to 5 attacks, but because of the fact that he couldn't persona, the number wasn't big enough, so I was able to survive and live. The third match was a mirror match with my friend who is also using EVA, which I landed him on my Pause in Paradise. I went first, which means I have the advantage, and I also have the advantage for like other stuff, but I lost all because of 1, I couldn't persona right on turn 4. Yeah, that one turn that I couldn't persona right really detrimented my entire game plan and the entire game going forward. I could have like extra push him much more with a few more attacks and a few more bigger attacks and power, but I couldn't because I couldn't persona right, which is very annoying. So yeah, I lost because of that, and he did like an OT, like deliberate OT, so can't do much against that. The fourth game was against Gandiva. You know how Gandiva matchup works against EVA. They have hands, but like you don't really gain much advantage other than hand and again power and bind. But the thing is, my opponent doesn't seem to be very used to fighting against EVA, as he kept asking me like what are my card skills, and he was also surprised that both Skelet cannot be retired by his own card effects. So yeah, and the fifth match was against Vilista. Very annoying matchup. Draw 2 on turn 2, draw 3 or draw 2 to 3 on turn 3, then draw 4 consistently even after I attack that front row. And you know, having a lot of card in hand, able to protect their double Ophelia even though I was attacking the front row for like 35, which is very annoying. But I could have won that match if I didn't drop my 5k shield and drop my persona instead, cause I was afraid of losing out on the offensive power without my persona. I even asked him to check for triggers out, 12 triggers are out, and he has a 6 card hand size. No, 5 to 6 card hand size. And I was thinking that he has 4 in deck. His OT is out, he's guaranteed to have at least 1 or 2 triggers in hand. I was betting on it and my bet failed, so he set a trigger, so I have a 5k shot from guarding. If not, I can actually won the next turn since I have enough cards to. Since I do have enough cards in my deck to live. He only have about 4 cards left in his deck. So if I just attack his rear, if he guards for his rear, then he guards for his rear. If not, then he no choice. Retire his rear, can't attack with Vanguard anymore. So yeah. And after that, I just drop out, which is annoying. You think about it that you can have won, but I can have won, but I just lost to a misplay that I misplayed myself. So it was painful, but it was a good enjoyment. I did make some new friends, so not much, but like a few friends, more like acquaintances, talk to. So yeah. Setting off for the right line, obviously the EVA right line 0, 1, 2, 3. Nothing much to say. And again, this is a skeleton for most people to use, but for me this is the best list that I could come up with that suits my liking. Of course, I might be changing up like a few ratios here and there, or maybe I have a few new cards depending. But so yeah, if you don't like it, you can always change it, add a bit of new cards, or even change the ratios, since for me this is how it works. For me it works for me very well, but it might not for you. So always when you like watch people doing a deck profile, don't just blindly just using it. If it suits for it, but because the deck list or profile suits them, it might not suit for you. So you might want to try out the deck profile first. Even if it's like a top winning list, you can always try it first. If you like it, continue on. If you don't, you can change it to your liking. Like, it may be worse or it may be better, but if it's a deck that doesn't fit your liking, then what's the point of playing it? So yeah, starting off for our persona ratios, it is 3 Poison in Paradise Eva and 2 Fountain of Knowledge Eva. Originally it was just 4-1 or just 4, but after looking at the list and playtesting out, I think 5-2 is a decent number. Because 1, late games you do want your Fountain of Knowledge Eva, so that since late game you have less cards in your deck, and you have like accumulated more research order in your order zone. So you persona writing into this Eva so that you can CB1 to scout your remaining like thin number of cards in your deck, then you just stack them off wherever you like, which is very good. Even if you don't persona write, you can always do it with the base Eva if you want to as well. But you don't really want to see too much of her. 2 is enough. You can also play 1, but 1 is like very situational, but you don't want to run 2. You can also don't run her at all, since base, you really in base, like riding back to base from poison. But in Eva, you really need a persona right to make numbers. If not, it's a bit hard, which is why I do play a few cards to boost out the power a little bit. And I say a few cards, like not that much. So yeah. And again, Poison Paradise, really good card. In fact, really good card for turn 4 onwards to push. Late game it's decent, but it's better if you want to be late game into a knowledge fountain, because again you can stack. But depending on your situation, sometimes late game it will be better go into poison instead of staying in base or going into Fountain of Knowledge persona. because one, you might not have enough resources, and two, you probably run out of obscurates in deck, and you don't really want to waste your order into put a soul to put it back into your hand in matches like Carnival. So yeah, the effect for Poison Paradise is auto when this unit is written. When this unit is placed by riding from Knowledge Fountain or Knowledge Eva, search your deck for a research order, a research card, review it and add it to your hand, shuffle your deck, and activate Persona Ride. Auto event, when this unit attacks, bind a Knowledge of Fountain Eva in your soul, choose a obscurate from your hand, drop or deck, hand or drop, and call it to real. For this turn, this unit and the called unit get plus 5000 power. If you search your deck, shuffle your deck, and until the end of the turn, at the end of that turn, write the card binder for the cost as rest. So you're technically so blasting it, but at the same time you're not really so blasting it since you're not minusing or paying the cost at all, since you still be like grinding back out, so getting like it's about the same amount of so yeah. School card. So yeah, it searches for your drop as well, while the original only searches for the deck or your hand. And yeah, and again, that some people might not know, but Busher has it confirmed that both Eva, after you search your deck and shuffle, you can search your drop / hand to call out of the obscurate. Some people didn't know that while I was testing it on fight with other people's, with friends as well. They don't know that you can actually do that. They thought is when you search your deck, only your deck, or your drop is only your drop. But the Bushiro JP, which they already written for both Fountain Knowledge last year in the Q&A, as well as Poison in Paradise Era in the Q&A, which heavily stated that you can, that after you shuffle your deck, after you search and shuffle the deck, if you didn't call any, you can always search your drop and hand to call out afterwards. And of course, speaking of obscurates and core targets, we do play for the Grade 3 obscurate. It is your main attacker, main pusher, main offenser, main defender, etc. most important card in the deck. And a card just as important, and one reason why Obscurate is very scary. The war is a blue laboratory. On place of 5 core 1, if you thus calls out Obscurate activates the +1 crit or even the Grade 2, which attacks the front row, very strong. And the Soul Blast 1 rest 3 research order 5k to your glitter unit. The 5k does matters. Actually, like, matters a little bit, but it does make your power a bit higher. And in times where this fails, and you have to call something else, like maybe an Eva or Era to real, and they'll be only hitting for like 13 to 23k, which is effectively a 10k, 15k guard or a 5k guard. Using this, like rest or +1, give it 5k. On Persona Riding turn, there's a 20k guard. Like, it's nothing much, but saying that your opponent, that your 15k guard won't matter, as there's a one extra 5k making it 28, so that asking them to drop a 20k shield helps quite a bit in the later runs when you're obscurates. At the same time, your opponent is gonna PG obscurate most of the time, so doesn't matter, maybe. And for the Grade 2, starting off is Grade 2 is a 3 Grade 2 obscurate. You can run 4, but like maybe decreasing 1 Fountain Knowledge or something else to run 4, but 3 is a decent number right now, because most of the time you want the grade 3 and you can still cycle back out with Poison Imperator Eva if you don't have him in deck and you want to call him out instead of the grade 3. So yeah. With 2 run 2 Heritable Zone. Most deck, if not every deck I see plays 3, but only run 2. 1, I forgot to buy my 3rd copy. 2 is a decent number. I feel like 3 is a bit too much. At the same time, 2 might be a bit too little, so I might consider it 3 for the next time. But 2 is fine. 2 is a pretty good number right now. Since most of the time that when you see this card in early game, especially your first turn, you're 100% going to discard it to draw 1 card and shuffle it back, or draw 2 and shuffle it back, etc. depending on whether you're going first or second. And even when you're going your grade 3 turn right, if you don't have Persona or you don't have enough research order, you can always try to gamble with him. Drop right, so +1, put it bottom, draw 1, and hopefully you can get your research order from that 1 draw. At the same time, it's also just a 10k attacker, or 20k Persona, or a 10k booster. Oh, did I just say booster? Maybe I spoiled something. Who knows? But of course, along with boosters, is this Refreshment Dock. CB want to play when this card is placed in order zone, draw 1, which honestly I keep forgetting that it actually does that. I actually forgot to draw, which is a mandatory draw, but I legit forgot to draw. But so yeah, I think. But it's fine because most of the time I couldn't really find a chance to play it, since either it went to my hand on starting hand, so I've not really much of a choice but to discard it to right, or it just goes to my damage zone. I only played it once, and it really didn't matter that much, to be honest. And the second effect is continuous order zone. All your grade 2 rear guards can boost. So yeah, CB1 bad, but Heritable Zone effect lets you counter +1 on a personal riding turn. Search the deck for set order, add it to hand, shuffle, then you may play up to 2 set order. Then you may play up to 2 order this turn, and the next set order you can play without paying the cost. Basically, CB1 search for Dock, or maybe like Blue World, shuffle, then play Dock for free, draw 1, which I keep forgetting to do. So yeah, like if it wasn't for Heavyverse free play, you wouldn't even bother with Dock, to be honest, at all. So you do play 1 since it makes your Obscurate 15k booster, which makes your grade 3 Obscurate 38 attacker or 48 on personal riding turn. If you use Blue World effect to give it 5k, it's a 20k booster, 33 and 43. Strong. But we can't just rely on Obscurate for attacking and powering, so we do play 1 copy of Lady Defensor. Some deck plays 2, some play 1, some doesn't run Lady Defensor at all, they just run the Blitz Order by itself. But Lady Defensor does help a lot in matchups that you need defensive for. So yeah, and maybe you do need like a slightly bigger power and you don't want to call Obscurate from hand. So yeah, auto rear when this unit attacks. If there's a Blitz Order in your drop, so +1 +10k. Because of Poison Paradise, you don't use so as much, so you can actually waste 1 or use one, like the 1 zone to give her a 10k if you have a Blitz Order in your drop. And second effect is auto rear when this unit attacks a Vanguard. Actually, at the end of the battle, this unit attacks a Vanguard. CB1, bind this unit, search your deck for a grade 2 or greater non-regular piece Blitz Order, review it and add it to hand, shuffle your deck. If there's a Blitz Order in your drop, you may search for a set order instead. Basically, you just search out for your Blitz order, which is Full Blast. Search. It's a free Blitz order that on play. Search your drop for 2 grade 2 or greater units, and call it the Garden Circle, and choose one unit for that battle plus 10k. With Obscurates is just 10k, 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 30k, a free 30k shield, which makes a Vanguard 43k, which stops a lot of attack with just one card. So yeah, it's strong, which is why we do play 2 of it. And sometimes you do need like Full Blast, so you can attack it. Maybe you have like something like Elementaria, which is a Blitz order. You can't search for it, but if your Elementaria is in damage and you heal it out, or you have no choice but to discard Elementaria for some reason, you can always then you already achieve the Blitz order in drop for Lily Fencer to gain the 10k. Then you can CB1, bind her to search for your Blitz order. And because your front row is really empty, you can use Eva skill to call out and obscurate onto that open space. So you don't have to overcall it most of the time, which is a little bit counterproductive or for you to overcall, but because she bind herself as the cost, you can just call it on the open side. So yeah, and of course we play 3 the Aspirant henceforth. You can play 4, I do see some play 4, but 3 is a decent number because you don't really need to turbo out that much set order for Eva, and because of Eva skill, you're guaranteed to have 2 of your reset, thus this Aspirant henceforth, unless you're unluckily 2 copies go to damage zone on turn 2 and won't set a crit. That's some dumb, I guess, but usually you're guaranteed to have 2 in your order zone no matter what. And because you don't really waste that much resource, because of Poison Paradise, you don't really need to use the Soul Charge CC at Obscurate back to hand as much either. I only see myself ever doing that. 1, I lack the resource because of damage denied, or 2, I need Obscurate in hand for defensive, or maybe for offensive by putting it back to your hand and calling out. But 3 is a good number, especially right now. Not much is really that much much people who actually damage deny you, since a lot of deck have high offensive potential already. So yeah, and I do feel like you do need a bit more space for stuff like Full Blaster. You can remove Lead Defensor for 1 more or something like that. So yeah, 3 is fine. You can always play 4 if you are scared, or you can always remove this 1 spicy attack card, Lady Barrier, which is really good. A lot of people saw this and they're like, oh wait, that card exists? I just call it out, and you ask me what does it do. I just say 20k booster if the total grade in my set order or in my order zone is 7 or more. Then they're like, holy shit, that's big. Then whenever I play it, they will probably just PG high chance, which is why you can actually play a mind game with Lady Bio, because it requires a soul. You can actually first put it here as a scary target for your Oscillates. Your opponent won't be asking you what's the power. You can just say power is this without the skill, but with the skill you win up a bit more. Then your opponent has to consider whether to hard guard the Vanguard. If they only have 1 or 2 PGs, they have to think about whether they want to save the PG, save 1 PG for this and PG the Vanguard, or in case you set a trigger and you have enough obstacles, they have to think about it. so which is very scary. If your opponent have like less than 2 or 3 PGs, most of the time they will probably 2 to guard your Vanguard and then keep the 2 PGs for the side. But if they only have 1 PG, then they have to think 2 to pass the Vanguard, but your rear will be getting the power, which can go as big or maybe bigger than the column with Ready Bio, which is actually very but you can always just boost attack and not use the skill. In your opponent, if your opponent PG it or save it, save the PGs for this column, they will be like, oh shit, they could have like, it's true they may live, but maybe not, or maybe kept the PGs or use the PGs, and you'll be like, oh dang, maybe I should have kept the PG, or maybe I shouldn't have used the PG right now, because it's a cost. You can actually play like a small mind game opponent. Is it that important? No, it's definitely not that important, but it's still a little mind game that you could play with opponent. Like, I could use the skill, but I might not want to use the skill in case you PG it, but my Vanguard is a thing. It's hitting for 28. It's a 30 for 2 to pass, but because I'm Eva, I have a lot of trigger left in my deck. So I could sack front or something, and then, or I give it to my rear. You could PG this, but my rear could be just as big. It could be, you know, 43 or maybe bigger with a boost, but then this would be like 60 something. So yeah. So it's either you PG this or you PG my other rear. If they don't have enough hands, you probably just no guard the Vanguard and take it, and then drop everything just to guard the sides. Which is why this card is very good. If not, discard fodder. Yeah, like sometimes I just see it, I don't really need it, or in a matchup like Ganiva, or other matchups where I don't really see me using him that much, or my positioning doesn't let me use Lady Barrio, I'll just drop it for discard fodder to ride. So yeah. And for crits, it's the usual 8 crits and 3 front, because crit for crit pressuring, and in front for the 20k shield, which is always good, and to make our escalate bigger. The bigger the better. And 2 heals, 2 vanilla, 1 the crit heal, which is always important, especially against Ganiba, and the great heal, which supposedly supposed to be against matchup that, you know, strike matchup, but I haven't not fought a single strike, surprisingly. But it's also good against when you're going second and your opponent has like a strong going first switch return. Just use it as a 20k shield. And of course, Elder Breath. You can always play the red OT, because the red OT make your obfuscate restand twice with 2 to 3 crits. Also, you double crit obfuscate to restand, which just asks them PG twice. But Elder Breath is also scary because it makes your everything 4 crits, or so yeah, which is good for a early game Elder Breath, but red OT is good for late game, I guess. Oh, but Elder Breath is also good for late game as well. Like, okay, basically red OT is mostly very good in late games, but at the same time it's not as good compared to Elder Breath in the early games, where Elder Breath early game casually just hitting you for 4 crit or maybe more, or just 2 crit to crit, or 4 crit to crit and something else, and your opponent has to drop entire hand just for it, and then they have to don't have that much hand to do shit, or they just die. Like, you could say the same thing about the red OT, which, you know, 100 million double attack, but at the same time it's, you know, like at the same time your opponent can just double PG it, or because it's just 2 crit, they can just take it, and it's an early game. The early game they will be like 1 damage if they play defensively. Early game they could just take it, go to 4 of go to 4 or 5 and they'd be fine. So yeah, the real OT is a little bit more situational early game, but it's much stronger in the late game. While out of breath, it's like it's like an all-rounder. It doesn't really excel that much in early or late, but it's just an annoyance in both. So yeah, this is a list. It's a bit shiny from the sunlight glare, but so yeah, this is a list that I played in WGP for in season 2 Singapore. Of course, you can change up. You know, can maybe don't play 4, play 3, don't play Ready Babrio, but so yeah. I hope you guys can enjoy the video and hope you guys subscribe if you want to. I don't upload consistently. It's a random upload depending when I want to upload. Mostly deck profiles. I am thinking of like making fight videos, but I kind of lack the like conducive environment for me to do it, which is basically not quiet enough to play it, because I don't really want to put background music, and B, I don't really have a good editing software, more like a good editing PC. So yeah, since everything is filmed on my phone and it edited very lazily. So yeah, hope guys enjoy the video. Again, like and subscribe, follow if you want to, and I'll see you guys the next time. Bye.